In order to access your page with JavaScript, you have to grab hold of one of the nodes. The main question you need to ask is it unique? The thing that you're after, is it unique in the document? That means, does it have an ID? If I want to grab a list item of an unordered list, I need to ask the question, does it have an ID in the HTML? You already know that you can add ID and class attributes to any of your HTML elements, but a class can be added to multiple elements, and ID should only be applied to one. It should be unique. And if the element you're after has that unique ID, then you can grab it in JavaScript by using possibly the most important method of the document object, which is getElementById. And you pass in the ID of the HTML element. So if we look at our example right here and open up our developer tools, I can use the console to write a script to grab an element on my page. If I inspect my unordered list, you can see that I have an ID of flavors applied to the unordered list. So because the UL has a unique ID, I can use the JavaScript getElementById to grab this element. So what we'll do to start off with is we'll create a variable called grabber, and grabber is going to be equal to document.getElementById. Notice when I write getElementById2, it's just the first letters of not the first word, but the second, third, and fourth words that are capitalized. A lot of people make mistakes by making both the I and the D capitalized. So this is case sensitive, so make sure that you are aware of the case sensitivity. We're going to create a variable called grabber, and it's going to get the element by ID of flavors. And then, just to test this, we're going to run the console. And you can see once I run my script right here, it's going to let me know that it is getting the UL with an ID of flavors. So what we're doing here is we're creating a variable, and then once we have that variable, we can use that variable to read properties of the element. You can call methods of the element. You can even change that element. Now it's important to understand that when I do this using getElementById, I'm just making a detached copy of this single piece. Now I have a handle right into this document, so I can use it to go down to the child nodes. I can use it to go up to the parent nodes also. It's not the detached copy of the one element, it's more like a pathway into this particular place in the DOM. Now what if I don't have an ID on the element that I'm after, or what if I want more than one element? Then we have to use getElementById's close relative, getElementsByTagName. Notice that getElements is plural as opposed to getElementById. What it's going to do is it's going to go through our document and give us back any of the elements that are, let's just target list items. Let me show you how this is going to work. I'm going to create a new variable called myList, and I'm going to make it equal to getElementsByTagName. And you can see that I'm going to pass on li. And this basically means find me all the nodes that are list items and return those to me. So when I hit return and run a console, you can see that it returns all of the LIs in my document. And if I open them up, you can see that I have 6 LI items, which I do have 6, and each one is going to be assigned a number. The reason that it's assigning as number is because it's finding all of the nodes that are list item elements and returning those. It can't store those into one variable, so it automatically creates an array. It makes an array called myLists in this case, and it finds all the items in the entire document, and then in each position of the array, in this case there's 6 positions, we'll have a handle to that particular position in the DOM. Let me show you how we can control which elements are being retrieved via JavaScript. I've gone into my page and I'm just going to add a new unordered list, and let's give this a different ID. We'll save our page, and if we refresh in the browser, you can see that now I have 2 lists. So now that I have the 2 lists on my page, I'm going to go ahead and use my getElementsByTagName. So we'll just create a new variable called myList and get the ElementsByTagNames li. And when we do this, and if we run a console to display this information. You can see that it returns all of the LIs on my page. So this will include every LI. It doesn't matter which UL it's in. So here are the first 6, and then here are the first 6 LIs, and then you can see that the 7th and 8th LIs belong in the second list. So I have a length of 8 right here. So now that I have this, I can be more specific and use my new variable to collect some alternate information. So if I go ahead and make a new variable, and we'll just call this my first list, and I'm going to make that equal to document.getElementsById, and we'll pass in the name of the first list, which in this case is flavors. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable, and we'll call it limited list, and we'll make this equal to my first list dot get elements by tag name, and we'll pass on li. Oh, I didn't capitalize the L in my first list. Let me just change that real quickly. And then we'll run a console again. You can see that now I get only 6 items returned instead of 8. So it is isolating my items to just get the new ones that I have created. So what this example has just shown is it shows how you can start to drill down into the properties and the information about this data. So when we use the documents.getElementById and documents.getElementByTagName, they're extremely powerful because they allow you to use the same method at any level in the DOM, not just at the top level document. GetElementsByTagName by itself is going to give me all of the LI elements in my page. What I want to do here is I want to use the getElementById to grab the unordered list with a UL of flavors. And then I'm going to call the getElementsByTagName again, but instead of calling the document to call it, I am now using my name of my variable, which is my first list .getElementsByTagName. And what that means is it'll start on the unordered list position and look downwards and only give me back those items. In this way, you can move up and down in the DOM, and you're able to reuse the same method. Once you start to get a handle on the properties that are available and the methods that are available, you can pretty much get anywhere you want within the DOM.